3.
The Radio Whammo Breakfast.
The voice of the creative economy.
With Vincent Heeringa.
It's a little feature we like to call the hopes and dreams of Vincent Heeringa. Good morning. Good morning. Hopes and dreams for the budget today. It's the big old budget day today.
Well, budgets used to be incredibly dull, but they've got quite exciting recently, but given the the global financial crisis, and we're all quite interested again in what governments spend money on.
Well, that's right. When everything was running smoothly in the early part of the last decade, it was all just kind of, ho-hum, just as long as you just... We don't want to know about it just as long as there's a surplus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just don't be too profligate, and meanwhile we'll get on with buying houses.
But now the stakes is high, Vincent. The stakes is high.
Everything's got that much more pressurised, hasn't it? And New Zealand government, at least, on a public spending point of view, faces the highest deficit we've ever had, $16 billion a year. We are forking out in debt, and in fact they're paying something like, the weekly debt is something like $380 million.
And they can no longer blame the previous government for this stuff.
Well, they're kind of running out, after 2.5 years, you start running out of people to blame, don't you?
Mm.
You could blame, I suppose, a recession of 70, the worst recession in 70 years. That's quite a good excuse.
Yeah, but then some would say, well, they haven't done anything to stem the flow, as it were.
I suppose that's a very unfair criticism. I understand why people would say that, but the problem for the government is that at the same time as money gets spent on health and education and roading and aeroplane rides for ministers and helicopter rides for the Prime Minister, the amount of money coming in through taxation has dropped significantly, and that's because the economy has dived.
Or was it because they cut income taxes?
Well, that, I'm sure, hasn't helped the coffers, but the theory would be that if you reward people for their labours, they are going to labour a bit more.
Not in New Zealand.
Are we a unique species?
I think so. Yeah. Who came up with that economic theory, anyway?
Trickle down and all that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the other big challenge, of course, is that the government has forked out some millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, in propping up finance companies and ratchet investments that have collapsed as a result of the global financial crisis. Mm-hmm. So, been a particularly challenging term for this government. On top of that, a major earthquake in Christchurch, the very sad and spectacular Pike River coal mine disaster. So you've got to say that it has been, if you were going to be in government, you wouldn't have chosen these last 3 years, would you?
This is true. Okay, well, what are your hopes and dreams for the budget today?
Well, I've just got 4 things that I hope that they do. And the first thing is that we really do got to save some money. Now, I'll give you some statistics from Whammo. As a proportion of our overall economy, the amount of government spending, so this is the amount of money that the government spends. And remember, this doesn't come from other places, it comes from you and me. So it's kind of like a measure of tax, really, is 41%. That's how much of the economy is run by the government. And that makes it really just a money go-round. There's no new money being invented. There's no new wealth. It's just kind of taking off Whammo and giving to Vinnie through, health, education, social welfare, and so on.
Give it back, Vincent.
It's too late. And just as a comparison, Australia is 10% less. It's 30% of their GDP. Singapore, which is often a country we admire for, less so for its democratic freedoms, but more so for its economic management and prosperity, is only 17%, and America's 27%. So, our proportion of spending compared to countries we admire is reasonably high.
Okay.
That needs to come down. So my first wish list is, go ahead, Bill, make those cuts. I want to see the government save some money.
Where, though?
Well, don't ask me that. I don't know.
It's easy to say cut, but what are you cutting?
I suspect that they spend a lot of money, and you're going to hate me for saying this.
On bureaucrats and red tape.
I think they spend a lot of money on health. I reckon the health industry
Really?
is incredibly inefficient, incredibly uninnovative, and way out of whack with aligning people's needs with spending.
Do you think throwing more or less money at health will reduce the waiting lists?
I think that you need a more imaginative approach than talking about spending money or cutting money. I suspect, this is only a hunch, Wemo, but I suspect that there is a huge amount of duplication, for one thing. There is something like, for every, no, I won't say the statistics because it sounds bogus, but there's a lot of do-gooding, well-meaning people trying to address obesity in New Zealand, all through government spending. I suspect that the same is going to be replicated in lots of other areas, and the people that really need help, the people with serious mental illnesses, people with serious cancers and life-threatening illnesses, have to join the queue because there's a huge amount of inefficiency, even in the way the hospitals are run. You know, there are so many different boards and levels of bureaucracy in hospitals that even just attacking that.
Right, and I know we're going from macro now to micro, but then how do you solve the obesity problem? Because that, longer term, is probably our number one health issue.
It is, indeed. Can I just answer that another day?
Yeah, because it's getting really complicated now. Yeah, okay, all right. Cut
I just
stuff.
don't think you can change people's behaviour with with ad campaigns.
Okay, we're only on number one. Number one is just cut some random stuff. Okay, number two?
Keep your cutting, but these are the precious areas. Do not touch these areas, Wemo. Number two, hold your spending. I want that broadband scheme to go through. Keep going. They have tweaked it a bit just today. They've announced that the whoever wins the bid will have to be subject to Commerce Commission scrutiny.
Yeah.
Which is good, because doing it the other way was completely bogus.
But we need more competition in there, yeah?
We need more competition, and we need the right for competitors to appeal to the Commerce Commission about unfair pricing. But the government's restored that, so good. But that's it. Keep going with that scheme.
Okay.
Keep spending on science. Science and R&D, those are the things that will deliver us the long-term benefits. So short-term pain, but long-term gain.
Yeah.
And keep spending on infrastructure, and this is where I depart from my friends in the sustainability movement. Keeping that infrastructure, that roading infrastructure going. Finish the roading scheme in Auckland. Get that light rail built. Get us a connection to the airport, for goodness sake. Every other city in the world has got a light rail, or at least a decent public transport system going out to the airport.
Well, I don't think your sustainable friends will have a problem with that.
No, but they would complain if I said that you've got to complete the roading network. It just makes so much sense, Wemo, to have a ring road around the city, don't you think?
Well, that absolutely needs to be done. I mean, I live near that neighbourhood, and it's madness at the moment. I mean, that needs to be done. But what about these things like holiday highways and stuff? We don't need crap like that, do we? We need that money channeled towards public transport.
Well, I have a batch up north, and that holiday highway is excellent.
Once a year, come on, Vincent, once a year.
Yeah, not enough. That's true. I need to get up there more often.
Yeah.
You may be right. We need to focus on the congested bits.
Yeah.
Not on the privileged bits completely. All right. Now the last two things on the wish list. And these are sort of my slightly kind of it's getting more spectacular as I go down the list. But we're way overdue to align our tourism brand with our economic brand. So 100% pure, which we trumpet overseas, much to our embarrassment. On a tourism basis, needs to align with our overall economic strategy. We need to stand for being the green economy. This thing's not going away. It's not a fashion nor is it fad. It is a reality. Climate change is upon us. The price of carbon is upon us. We're in an absolutely beautiful and perfect position to align our economic investment and our business strategy with that 100% pure brand. Bloody get on and do it.
I heard John Key wants it changed to 100% compared to you as the new slogan.
Well, I was thinking 80% is pretty good.
80%, yeah. Like sort of 2 out of 3 times ain't so bad. New Zealand. Yeah.
Anyway, there's huge opportunity, and it's being missed because of short-sightedness, the Jerry Brownlee effect, I like to call it.
Yeah.
Just this week, there was a trade commission and a fair in Korea showcasing the benefits of grass-fed beef compared to grain-fed beef. And, it tastes better, it's a better ethical story for the animals, and contributes to a pastoral economy. And, those are the things that we can talk up, the benefits of our beautiful premium land. And I think, we've got the sustainability story, and energy generation needs to continue. We need to leave the coal in the ground and come up with some better ideas about sustainable energy sourcing as well.
And leave the lignite in the ground. I heard a great, it was I think Gareth from the Green Party said digging up lignite was like ripping up the floorboards of the house to put in the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice analogy.
Yeah, it was very good. All right, hey, thanks, Vincent. That was
Hang on, one more.
Oh, one more.
One more.
Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
One more spectacular idea I'd love to see in this budget, but won't happen, I'm sure. And that is a spectacular idea for immigration, because we still don't have enough people in New Zealand, and we want to get more talented, hard-working, entrepreneurial people here. And I'd like to see the government do something really imaginative and cool to get those kind of people to come and invest and live and do business with us down here.
More Danish people.
Well, I don't care where they come from. They could even come from the UK. Well, maybe not.
Hey, those are the hopes and dreams for Vincent Heeringa on Budget Day today. Thanks, Vincent.
Thanks, Wemo.
And you can find Vincent over at idealog.co.nz.